Hello, this is Darren.
And this is Paige.
And this is
Where's the Lemonade?
Where we talk about what happens when life throws you lemons.
Make some lemonade?
Maybe. Some weeks it's lemon squares.
Yeah, some weeks it's just lemons.
Yeah. On today's episode,
we're going to talk about the non-communicative ex-spouse or current spouse.
Silence is not always golden.
It is not.
Okay, let's first talk about what leads up to a non-communicative spouse or ex-spouse.
Well, first of all, let's talk about why we wanted to do this episode.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. So we had seen this on our Facebook groups that we're involved with for
for
divorce,
blended families.
Blended families. Yeah. So this is quite a problem. Like, people don't know what to do especially when their ex won't communicate with them. I mean, you need to be able to communicate. There are things that you have to decide together.
Well, you do if there's kids involved.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Right. If there aren't kids involved, then you never have to communicate again.
Right. But I mean, people on these groups are people that obviously they're at their wits' end because they don't know what to do.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what led up to that non-communicative spouse.
Yes.
Or ex-spouse. And then what we could do to fix that problem. Is that how we're going to approach it?
And I think that we're all guilty of it to some degree, right? Like we've all participated in the silent treatment to some degree, for sure. Some exes, and maybe even your current spouse, or maybe you're the one that does it. You take it to the extreme and it is so unproductive.
Yeah, when you stop communicating, that's a big problem.
It's a huge problem.
So let's talk about the things that trigger it. The first one is called the blame game.
Popular game. Very popular game. I don't like to play it, but I think most people do to some extent.
Well, I think everyone does. Instead of taking the blame yourself, you want to say it was someone else's fault.
Especially when it's your ex.
Yeah,
how easy is it to blame them for everything?
Yeah, the divorce was never my fault. It was always my ex's fault. That's what everyone says, right?
Yeah. No, it's easy to play that game, but it's not productive.
No, it's not.
It doesn't help anything.
Especially when kids are involved. And that's where things become very detrimental, which leads to the other one, which was the trash talker.
Oh, the trash talker. I'm not a trash talker.
I know you're not, which is great.
I am not a trash talker. Never have been a trash talker. Will never be a trash talker. I think that is disrespectful. This is when I was getting divorced. I wanted everyone to know I was getting divorced because I didn't want to have that awkward conversation with 50 different people. Like, oh, and just so you know. So I was fine with people talking about my divorce. Like, yeah, actually get it out there. But I never said a word about why we were getting divorced. I never said a word about my ex and if I felt bad towards him or whatever, because he is the father of my children.
And that's the key there is when you trash talk, you're actually trash talking against your own children.
Yes, it's
because
awful.
They're half of your ex-spouse.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, that's how it is. And if you think that your kids don't hear, they hear either directly or worse, indirectly.
Yes. And I know it's hard. I mean, even when you think you're not trash talking, when you just, get a little dig in here and there, you don't think you're trash talking, but even those little digs are hurtful.
This happens with spouses and ex-spouses.
Absolutely. The little digs. Your kids are always paying attention, even to the little digs. So yeah, trash talking, don't do it. Do not do it. If you want to talk to a friend, fabulous. Pick a friend that you trust. Talk to that one person, but do not go around trash talking.
Or get a counselor to talk to.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, quiet treatment. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the quiet treatment leads to the silent treatment?
It does. The quiet treatment is a precursor to the silent treatment. The quiet treatment, I have experience with this. Because as those that listen to our podcast know that Paige does not, she will go quiet on me.
But I don't give you the silent treatment. So
no, you go quiet.
Now I understand the quiet treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a prerequisite to lead.
Yes.
I rarely give the silent treatment, but I do give the quiet treatment. The quiet treatment is, I don't want to say something I'm going to regret. So in the heat of the moment, I don't want to say anything. So I need time to just process.
Right. That took me some time to figure out. I thought maybe she was mad at me which she was.
Well, yeah, it's because we're in an argument that I'm doing the quiet treatment.
Yeah.
So if you just wouldn't make me mad.
I thought she was punishing me.
No, it had nothing to do with that. And I'm glad you learned that was not it.
So now she just teaches me patience. It's her way of educating.
And I think I'm getting better too.
Oh yeah, I am too.
The quiet treatment. I need to think about my thoughts. I'm not always sure that what I want to say is really what I want to say. And I don't know if people can understand that. But do you know what I mean?
I'm glad that you hold your tongue. I have a harder time holding my tongue.
You do, but you've gotten better at that too, though.
I have.
Yeah. So we're meeting in the middle of a semi-quiet treatment.
Yeah. Like The Quiet Place.
Oh, good movie.
Yeah, good.
Wonder when the second one's coming out.
Well, who knows? All right, push-pull is the next one.
What's this one? I don't understand.
This is when you're using the kids back and forth.
Ugh.
Right. You're pushing information through the kids. You're pulling information from the kids. This is very dangerous and can cause a lot of problems. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to just be your kids. You could do this through mutual friends as well.
Yes.
Not as bad as through the kids, but still really bad.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's bad. That's terrible.
Where you're not communicating directly, you're communicating through a third person.
Right.
I feel sorry for that person in the middle. But.
So now remember, all these things we're talking about are things that you might be doing. And so then your ex goes, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm not going to, you're putting the kids in the middle. So I'm just not going to talk to you at all. Or you're doing the blame game. Well, I'm just not going to communicate at all. So keep that in mind. I like the next one.
Why? Yeah, this is totally you.
You cannot make me.
That is 100% Paige.
You can't make me. You can't make me do it.
If I want Paige not to do something, I tell her to do it.
That is so not true.
That is 100% true.
But
if I tell you not to do something, you will do it.
No, but it does. My first instinct is, why did he just tell me not to do that? I think I want to do that. That is my first instinct. Right. My first instinct is a 5-year-old. Yes. I don't know why, but it is true. That is my first instinct. Like, oh my gosh, I want to go do this. But then I can think about it but I understand this one, especially if it's coming from your ex, right? Like you need to blah, 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 blah. And you go, oh yeah, guess what? I do not need to do anything. So yeah,
you're not in charge of me.
You're not the boss of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see how that one.
Yep. The next one, and this is kind of a precursor to the other one, the solo decision maker. I am divorced. I can now make all my decisions myself. False. I'll just tell you, if there's kids involved, 100% false. You may think that. You may even try and live that. Reality will slap you right in the forehead.
No, in fact, when you were married, you had way more control, right? Because if you were married and you make a decision, your spouse might just go, okay, whatever, that's my husband, you know. But when you're divorced and you hear that your ex made some decision without consulting you, literally blood is boiling.
It's amazing because one of the most common things with this is haircuts.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that before. Haircuts is a big one.
I've been shocked. And
we're so over it.
I know this is more newly divorced people.
Yeah.
The new stepmom took their daughters to go get haircuts. You would have thought that, they had a kidney removed or something.
I'm going to give some advice to any stepmoms out there. Do not take your stepdaughter to get their haircut unless you have gotten the green light from the bio mom. Do not do that. Yeah. I never did that. We've never had this situation.
But we've read a lot about it.
But we have heard it. We have felt it. Yes, don't do that. I think it's funny because with boys, I don't think moms care as much as boys. Whatever. But girls, make sure they
do care.
Get that permission.
So that solo decision making, you really can't make it by yourself. And when you start doing that, then the other spouse will start shutting down.
Yes. When you just go, I'm going to sign Johnny up for this, and I'm not even going to check with my ex. That's not okay. Now that leads into the silent treatment. If your ex won't communicate with you when you're saying,
we'll talk about that.
So we're going to get to that.
Yeah. The next one kind of feeds into withholding or punishing your spouse and your ex-spouse.
I hate that one so much. And I think that one that you just mentioned, I think that actually leads to a lot of divorces.
Oh, yeah,
I think that absolutely is a heavy duty
if
weapon.
You don't do this, I am not going to do that.
Yes. I know many friends that have used this technique in their marriage, and it is so unhealthy.
it's not.
It's so unhealthy. So don't do that, please.
And with your ex, this comes in the forms of withholding money, withholding visitation. Those are very dangerous roads that you start heading down, and you will end up in court, and you may even end up arrested. So be very, very careful if you think that you can withhold either child support or visitation or even information about your children. That could be very detrimental to...
Yes, the court looks down on that very poorly. Do not withhold, and don't tell your kids, oh, this is happening. Don't tell your dad.
Yeah,
don't tell your mom.
Yeah,
that's not good. Don't do that.
Yeah, the court sees that as parental alienation.
Yep.
There is a legal term for it. You will end up losing custody of your children if found guilty of that.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about when you've already destroyed your communication, like we talked about before, and now your ex or even your spouse won't even communicate with you.
Well, sometimes it's not your fault when your ex stops communicating with you, right? Like you just may have a really volatile ex-spouse.
That could be the case.
It just, you know what I mean? Like depending on how the wind's blowing, you don't know how they're going to. I mean, we see that all the time on these threads that. It's called HCBM usually, and that's highly contentious biomom. And
they never have the highly contentious bio dad. Why is that?
Let me just tell you, the women get the bad rap on there. I think that women just have their emotions are closer to the surface.
Well, I also think women are more likely to share on Facebook too.
That is true.
Because there are highly contentious bio dads.
Of course.
But we only hear about the moms because social media is more geared towards them, I guess. So let's talk about some of the things that you need to do if that's the case. Some of these will help keep you out of court. Some of these will improve the communication. And so these are all different tips.
So yes, so if your ex stops communicating with you and you don't know what to do, the first thing you have to do is
document. Emails, texts, phone calls, all need to be documented.
Yep.
It's best, from my perspective, if they are not communicating with you, to send an email because there is a return and receipt on those.
Right.
You have a paper trail for that.
Yes.
Text, you can do that as well.
It's just a little more difficult.
It's a little more difficult. Yeah. Phone calls, that's a he said, she said situation, unless you record it. But do not record unless
they know.
They know, because that will be thrown out and you actually may get arrested for some. It's different in every state. So do not record conversations without the other person knowing.
And if you do have a phone conversation, because sometimes there are things that you just need to be talked about on the phone, right? You just need to be able to hash it back and forth. And if you do have that phone conversation, send an email afterwards saying, hey, I just want to make sure we're clear on this is what we talked about. We talked about A, B, and C, and there you have some documentation.
That's what we do in business all the time. I just had a phone call this morning. We discussed some really cool things. I sent an email saying, this is what we talked about.
Right.
Is there anything else I forgot?
Yeah.
Boom. It doesn't have to be confrontational.
No.
If you're writing it so you can trap them, your attitude is wrong and it'll come across that way.
And that leads in right into the next one is be civil. Right?
Yeah, that can be hard when emotions are tuned up.
It can be very hard, but let me just tell you, sometimes being civil drives your ex insane. Right? Isn't that funny? How being nice and kind and just being chill makes them go crazy. Like, it's so funny. We've read about this so many times.
Yeah, we have.
Where,
kill them with kindness.
Yes, kill them with kindness. And the other ex is like, going crazy, and you're just, oh, well, I can see why you would feel that way, and they just want to, scratch their eyes out. But no, be civil. Be civil.
And if you can't, you don't have to be lovey-dovey.
No, please don't be.
Or kind.
Please don't be. Be kind. Don't be lovey-dovey.
Be kind, but you can treat it as a business transaction. So how would you? In a business transaction, you're trying to solve problems, not trying to throw each other under the bus.
Right.
So do that when you're being civil.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, next one. This one's hilarious because people post on social media all the time.
People are dumb.
There are dumb people. Not all people are dumb.
No, No, oh, certainly not.
But,
in fact, it's very few that are dumb. But people that post negative things about their ex on social media, they're dumb.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That is there.
It can be, whether you think it can be or not, it can be subpoenaed in a court of law.
But forget that. Like, forget the court of law. That is so disrespectful.
Well, your kids may see it, your friends see it.
I mean, that is hitting below the belt.
Now, what about these blended family social groups?
Well, I think that's actually different.
Why is that?
Because you're in this private group with other people that you're looking for advice. People in these groups they're looking for help.
Okay.
They're looking for advice. And I would say most of the time it's not slamming someone. It's, hey, this is my situation. Who's been in this and who can help me?
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So if you are posting on these private groups, make it constructive. I need help in this situation instead of my ex is a total, jerk and I can't, figure out how to communicate with them. Yeah. Help me. That doesn't help.
And who knows, maybe one day your ex would be in that group. Actually, I think a lot of these, if I remember correctly, when you sign up, when you ask to be in the group, it actually asks for your ex's name.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. I know at least one of them did, so that they make sure that you're both not in the group.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense.
Yeah. Play more on the blended family group. It would be interesting to see both sides of that. No, I wouldn't.
No.
Never mind.
No.
Okay, next, don't involve other people.
Oh, gosh.
To carry a message between you and your ex. Now, this can be kids, or it could be friends, mutual friends.
Yeah, it could be your mom. It could be an aunt. It could be your sister. Like, hey, so-and-so,
It's time to grow up.
Yeah.
Be an adult.
Yes.
Sorry to put it that way, but
we have to remember, this is when your ex won't communicate with you. So I understand how people can feel this way.
Well,
right?
Absolutely.
They go, oh my goodness.
They won't talk to me. Will you tell them?
Yes. I can't get through to them. Can you tell them? That's not going to help the situation at all.
No, just the opposite, more than likely. All right. Next on the list we have is try and keep personal feelings aside. Now, this is really difficult because it is personal.
Yes.
But the reason you're communicating more than likely has to do about raising your children.
Yes.
So keep it about them. Don't bring up old things. Keep it short and sweet and to the point. What are you asking for? And what result do you want?
You should never be bringing up stuff about your relationship with your ex in emails or phone calls with them. You're divorced. That ship has sailed. All of your interactions now are about the kids. You should not be still hashing out your relationship. You're divorced.
I totally agree.
So, work on forgiving and moving on.
Yep. And I like how they say keep it short and sweet.
Yes.
What I have found the best way for me to communicate is not to put a laundry list of things in one email. I've done that in the past.
Well, then things get overlooked or
things get overlooked and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So it's best to send individual issues in individual emails. That way you're not getting things cross.
Right.
And
you answered this, but you never answered these 3 things. Are you going to answer these? And you know what I mean? It's
So simple, short, to the point, single email.
And I think what needs to be done in these emails when your ex isn't communicating with you, you have to say, you have not responded to my previous emails regarding this matter. So if I do not hear from you by this day, and this is what lawyers have said to do, because you can't just indefinitely not make decisions if your ex won't communicate with you, right?
Right.
So you have to say, if I don't hear from you by next Friday, I'll assume that the decision that I'm, have proposed.
This is the decision.
Yeah, this is the decision. So put a date in there. Put a time and say, I need to hear from you by this date, or this is going to happen, because there's decisions you have to make. There's deadlines for things, right?
Absolutely.
So so that's a recommendation from me.
No, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Also, it says use technology. There are plenty of ways to communicate now. Registered letters, frankly, a waste of money.
Oh, please don't do that.
Yeah. Emails work really well. People will read emails.
And if they're not, like if they literally never respond to you, then you will have to go to court and you will be able to show all your emails. And if they say, well, I blocked you, well, that is their problem. You're having to co-parent.
Or worse off, you've been saying it to the wrong person all this time.
Yeah, right?
That would be bad. So use different techniques to communicate, saying, hey, I just sent you an email. You can say that over the phone, or you can say that via text.
Yes.
Just to make sure that you've done your part in trying to communicate.
Yep, absolutely.
Here's another thing that, maybe we don't do effectively. It's list both bio parents on all contact forms. Now, we do it with my kids.
Yes, but I don't do that with
Sam. You don't, because you have 100%
physical custody.
Yeah. But I just thought about that. Maybe that's something we should be adding on there.
Maybe. I guess I always think of those as like emergency types of things. And if something happened to Sam, his dad doesn't live near, you know what I mean? So that's why.
But maybe his dad would like to get emails about how he's doing in school.
Yeah. No,
So that's something that we can
something to
think about.
And the reason this is important, this is another hot topic. If you just put yourself down, or say you put yourself and your new spouse and you don't put your ex as the mom, that you are asking for a fight.
That's alienation.
Yes, don't do that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal because you are their mom, you are their dad, and you should be, treated as such.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've used techniques like having one email that goes to both me and my ex.
Yeah.
We just call it like school or, swim, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then it goes to both of us. So we both get it, which that helps.
Yeah. Because sometimes there are situations where you can only put one person or one phone number, and that gets tricky when you can only do that. So just do the best you can. Let your ex know, hey, I was only allowed to put one, email or one phone number. So this is what I put, this is why I did that. Just make sure you're open and honest about that.
Now, if nothing works and you're still not being open communication with your ex, then you may need to get a mediator.
Absolutely.
Or a co-parenting therapist. They exist.
Yeah.
They're court-appointed and non-court appointed.
Yep.
Stay out of court
as much as you can.
A mediator does not put you into court.
Nope.
A judge gets really tired of hearing all of the excuses, and it's just going to cost you a lot of money and make a lot of divorce attorneys more wealthy.
Yes. Yes. Seriously, stay out of court as much as you can. Good advice. Good advice.
We talked about if your ex won't communicate. Now let's talk about overcoming it. We talked about things that you need to do to set yourself up to protect your kids and to stay out of court. Let's talk about some things that you can do to try and improve communication.
Okay.
So the first one, we've already talked about it, but it's be kind. Always be kind.
That can be really difficult, especially in the early stages of your divorce. That can be really difficult
because it's highly contentious.
Highly. And, but guess what? Nothing bad can ever come out of being kind. Right?
That is true.
So just, try.
No, what if your ex is just throwing fiery darts at you? Every email you sent, they're picking apart every word. What do you do then?
Just keep being, you may not feel like being kind, right? If you're just always being attacked, you may not feel like being kind, but you can certainly be civil.
Right. And you can
jump,
ignore it too.
Yes, totally ignore it. Just don't jump in that same boat. Don't jump in the fiery dart boat.
Well, they're doing that to get a reaction out of you, right?
Absolutely. So just be civil. Be, like we already said, short and sweet. Doesn't have to be sweet, actually.
No.
It can just be short and simple.
Short and simple.
Yep.
But you can ignore those sorts of things.
And I actually think you should ignore the attacks for sure. If they send you an email and there's attacks in there with actual things you need to respond to, completely ignore the attack and just respond to it.
I judge that by the length of the email I get all the time.
Right?
I'm a very terse person when it comes to emails. I normally don't write very much.
Yeah.
I have a simple, here's the problem, here's what I want to do.
Right.
If I get 5 paragraphs after that.
Yeah, you don't even read it. Right?
No, and I probably miss things that I should have read.
Yeah. So keep it short and simple.
Yeah. If you have the tendency to carry on for 5 paragraphs, you need to change the way that you're communicating.
Yes, for sure.
All right. The other thing is keep communication open. Just because your ex is shut down doesn't mean that you should too. Keep sending them emails on updates, how the kids are doing. This can be hard at times. I know I've fallen into the trap. Well,
if you're not, then I'm not.
You're not, then I'm not going to communicate.
And that's, you can easily fall into that. Well, if you're not going to communicate with me, if you're not going to do this, then I'm not going to do that. Once again, it's just putting on your big boy and big girl panties.
Well, and what is this communication about? Children's school, doctor's appointments, sports, punishment or discipline at home, whatever it may be. You need to be open.
Yep.
One of my co-parenting therapists taught my ex and I to send a weekly, just a simple email, what's happened with the kids when I had them this week.
Yeah, I really liked when you guys did that.
Yeah, it was very good. Our communication was much better. So that's a really good technique to use.
Like here's what went on. That way the kids don't feel like, ooh, what should I say to mom and dad about, where I was just at this house. What do I share? What do they not want me to share? They feel torn. So if you already know because your ex sent you an email, that just takes the pressure off the kids too. Like, hey, I heard you did X, Y, Z. And the kids are like, oh, thank goodness you already know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you would put in an email like this, the good things that happened, the fun things that you did, and the bad things that happened. Johnny fell down and, skinned his knee. He cried for about an hour.
Yep.
Just to let you know he's fine,
but or
whatever.
so-and-so had a fight with their best friend or, just little things like that to keep each other. Yeah, I really liked when they suggested that years ago.
And we did it for a while.
You did.
We've dropped off the last couple years.
Yeah, now they're older, so.
Maybe I need to keep doing it.
Yeah, maybe. Something to think about. All right. Oh, I like this one. Look at your own behavior.
I'm never wrong. So why would I?
So everyone should look at your behavior.
Everyone should look at how great I am. Of course. No, you need to take a big look at yourself. Are you causing the problem?
Are you enhancing the problem?
Chances are you are contributing.
Yeah.
That's a very good likelihood that you're contributing.
And sometimes you're not. I mean, sometimes you're literally just like, I don't know what else to do. I'm at a loss, right? Like sometimes you just don't know.
But if it's not working, don't keep doing what you're doing.
Nope.
Change things up a little bit. You gotta, and maybe just being persistent is key here, but you got to look at yourself.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What else?
Oh, protecting your children from the anger and fighting. Not using your children in your anger and fighting.
Yes. Do not. We kind of already talked about this. Don't use them. Don't put them in the middle. Don't use them to relay messages. Don't let them hear you talking bad. We've really already talked about that.
Don't use them to throw eggs at your ex's new spouse.
That would be very bad. Don't do that.
Oh, that happened. That happened on
you saw that
the
on
blended family.
What?
Yeah. The mom, the bio mom.
They threw a person?
No, at their car.
Oh, at their car. I mean, not that that's any better, but that's a little better.
Yeah, they took the bio mom took her kids and egged her ex's girlfriend's car.
That, people, is how not to.
That's how you get your kids taken away.
That is so unhealthy.
You think it's funny?
No, it's not.
That's not.
That's so unhealthy for your kids. Do not do something like that.
Now, by itself, if you did that by yourself, you wouldn't be in as much trouble. But when you start involving your kids, you're trying to turn your kids against your ex.
Don't do that.
And their new girlfriend or spouse or boyfriend.
That is messing with their psyche. Like, do not do that. Do not do that.
So, and then the last one, absolutely seek some help. There's lots of really good resources out there for co-parenting therapy or mediation if you get up to that point. But more than likely, you really want to figure out ways that you can communicate effectively. Even though you are divorced, you still have these children that you've got to learn techniques that you can communicate. Absolutely. It doesn't mean that you're going into these therapy sessions trying to resolve your relationship problems that you had during your marriage. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to set that aside and to move forward with a new way of communicating to help raise your kids.
Yep, it's all about the kids. All right, our lemonade moment of the week has to do with our bathroom.
And a totally messy house right now. The downside is the lemons is we had to pull everything out of our bathroom, and we're going to have to pull it out of all of our bedrooms. So there's boxes piled up everywhere.
Well, wait, we haven't told them what's happening.
I know, but that's the lemons. The lemons is I have to navigate to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Well, so we moved into this house, almost 10 years ago? Or 10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
There is carpet in our master bathroom.
The original carpet.
30-year-old carpet.
Yeah.
Gross. First of all,
now
there shouldn't be carpet.
It seem gross.
Well, I mean, you would.
I never thought
walking
it was.
Into our room, you wouldn't say that it was gross. No.
But now I feel like it's gross. Thank you.
You're welcome. So yes, we're actually going to get new flooring in the entire house, but they started this week on our master bath, and yeah, there's no more carpet in our master bath.
It's beautiful. It's great.
It looks great.
Now I might turn into a germaphobe after they pulled up that carpet.
Yeah, 30-year-old carpet. Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
So hey, the lemons are I have to navigate in the middle of the night to use the bathroom because there's boxes of
because we're still waiting for the baseboards to be put back on, so we haven't put everything back yet. But the lemonade
is a brand new kitchen.
Kitchen
or not? Oh, that's happening later. Brand new bathroom. I must be hungry.
If you like today's episode,
give us 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, Google.
And head to Facebook and like us.
And check out our blog at where'sthelemonade.org,
where you can leave questions and comments.
But most of all,
go out and make some lemonade.
You betcha, baby.